News coming to you from, once again, the world famous Parkway Diner on this Monday, July 20th, the year of our Lord 2026. And yes, July 20th is important for at least two reasons. One, of course, it's the anniversary of our landing on the moon, but more importantly, today is the birthday of Jesse Kelly on WOR radio. I like him, so I just had to mention him. Okay. So, oh God, what am I going to do? Remember, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Yankee Tea News. Okay, that would be YouTube. There's yankeetea.news, but then there's also youtube.com/@yankeeteanews. That's where we're trying to build up our force. We got to get more subscribers. So please, guys, whoever's listening, tell your friends. It's got to be people with Gmail accounts. So if you got a Gmail account, check us out. And get on board, baby. Get on board. So where do I want to start? There's so many places, but I'm going to talk, first of all, because it's a big pain in the ass. Here it is. Look, I have to wonder, is the Wall Street Journal sort of being an opportunist when they do stuff like this? So here's the headline. How's this doing, Eric? Have I got that in the lens there? Jordan, okay. So Iran focuses on Jordan. Okay, well, there's a problem, guys. Iran is threatening to invade Kuwait. How can they be focusing on Jordan if they are threatening to invade Kuwait? And if they've already bombed at least two of their power facilities in Kuwait? I think there's a little confusion here, and it's the kind of confusion that really merits a closer examination, which, of course, leads to my op-ed piece tonight. All right, the title of the op-ed piece is Iran at War with the World. Not War of the Worlds, at war with the world. So let's just talk about it a little bit, okay? If you have not been keeping track, let me recite for you that Iran, say since March 1st, has attacked, let's see here, Syria, Jordan, Israel, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE. That's, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 countries. And if they had the opportunity, they might want to attack more, okay? So look, we know what they've been doing. All right, this, and by the way, let me make the other obvious point here. Among these countries that they've attacked are supposed to be their allies. And another little tidbit I want to throw in here, because as I pondered this, the other question came up. How many Iranians live overseas? Okay, a country of about 92 million. And according to the all-knowing internet, overseas there are about 6 million. 1 million of the 6 million live in America, mostly, in Los Angeles and San Francisco. However, you'll find, boy, why am I doing that? There are substantial populations of Iranian expats in the UAE, over 400,000. In, was it Qatar, I believe? Oh no, Bahrain, which I find amazing. Like 300,000. There's 300,000 in Germany, another 300,000 in Canada. They're all over the place, okay? But it's worth noting that among these countries that they have attacked, there are some that have substantial Iranian populations. So to me, this strikes at the very central point that my op-ed would like to make. Iran has become an irrational actor on the world stage. I'm going to say it again for emphasis. They have become an irrational actor on the world stage. And in so doing, they're making a longer and longer list of enemies. Right now, you could have Europe saying, oh, they're looking the other way. You could have Southeast Asia looking the other way. That stuff can only go on for so long. So I think we're kind of reaching the limit here. Meantime, yes, what have we seen? Just a quick review with the Hormuz Strait, or Strait of Hormuz. They shut it down, then we pushed back, we set up a blockade, Then it began to open up and peaked at about a third of the typical daily traffic. And then President Trump decided that the Iranians couldn't be trusted after all, and they went back to attacking Iran, and now the strait is closed again, so they say. It's a lot that can be accomplished when you turn off the transponder on your ship, just saying. Remember, it is 27 miles at the narrowest point there for the Strait of Hormuz, 27 miles?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so let me just remind you, ladies and gentlemen, what is the distance? If you are standing on a beach and you're looking out on the water, okay, and you see what they call the horizon, any guesses as to how far away that horizon is when you're standing at water level?
12 miles.
I believe it's 25, but we should check it. So I'm just letting you know that the Iranians can't really see all that is the Strait of Hormuz without radar. Oh yeah, the radar we've been bombing, just saying. Anyway.
Might be a little less than that because
Well,
New York City from Todd's Point,
yep.
about almost half of the bottom of the Throgsneckers at the Whitestone is missing.
And that's how many miles away? It's 20 some.
No,
It's
like
it's 35.
It's like more like 30 to
Yeah,
35.
right. I mean, according to one thing, it's 35 miles from Greenwich to Grand Central. Okay, so that gives you a rough idea.
As the crow
But
flies.
but the point is, if you were to climb up a ladder and look out, you would be able to see further and further.
Right.
Okay,
Higher enough
so
you go.
right, right. What did you got?
You said 2.8 miles, 4.5 kilometers.
To what? To the horizon?
At sea level.
If you're
average
standing
height
approximately about
can see about 2.8 miles out.
That can't be right. Anyway, we'll have to investigate that. So, but anyway, the point I want to make is that if that's the case, then Iran can't see much of anything in the strait.
Curvature is limited to about 3 miles.
All right, I will check that. I will accept your information.
That's an AI generated.
Now, I have to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that this information has been provided to us by our Vice President in charge of conspiracy theories.
T.W. Rollins.
That's better known as T.W. Rollins. There you go, that's perfect. That's perfect. I mean, one's the cover for the other. You can do a lot with that. So, the curvature of the Earth, that's another conspiracy theory. There you go. That'll get you going.
If you're a flat earther.
I was leading to that. Anyway, let me finish with my op-ed point, which is very simple. They're attacking native countries in the region. They are, once again, cutting off the Strait of Hormuz. We are getting reports, though I have questions about this, concerning the number of foreign countries for whom their oil reserves are going down, 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 using the United States as an example. I don't understand. Can somebody explain it to me, please? I thought the United States was a net exporter of oil. So how can we be approaching an oil supply crisis if we're a net exporter? I don't get it. So on CNBC today, they had their expert come on, and he pointed out that the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, better known as the SPR, was down to 311 million gallons. Okay, 311. And what's the mark where there's a red flag, a red alarm, red bell alarm goes off? That would be 300 million gallons. So we're close. We're close to where this becomes, in their eyes, sort of a crisis. So I still don't understand it. Why would this be a crisis if we're able to produce as much as we do? All right, so I'll just let that hang in the air for a while. Let's see, so what's the other tidbit here? If an oil crisis is coming, it would seem to me to be incumbent upon the European nations in particular, who've been kind of ignoring this, to really step it up. Now, early in the game, President Trump was putting pressure on France and England and others. You're getting some weak, insipid kind of response that they're going to do something, and that's about it. Now you may be approaching a crisis. So here's my point. You can have Iran talking smack about expecting and calling for, inviting a land invasion. I believe they've been preparing for this for many years. But what's on the other side of that? Okay, prepared for what? If you're just expecting America, that might be one thing. But if you're going to keep pissing off so many more countries by attacking them and by interfering with their oil supply and other products that go through the Strait of Hormuz, I'm thinking world war. Okay, I'm thinking the world is going to declare war on Iran. Seems unlikely. There hasn't been much discussion about it. But if Iran continues to be the bad actor that they've been, yeah, I think so. And by the way, I'll just throw it out there. This may also be another form of talking smack, but I still need to share it with you. We have been reminded that Iran, for at least 3 weeks now, has not attacked Israel. Seems a little odd since they hate them so much, right? They've attacked Jordan, killed some American soldiers. They attacked Kuwait, causing problems there. And all these other attacks, they did attack Israel earlier, but now they stopped because, we are told, Israel sent the message in no uncertain terms. Okay, you boys, that gay Ayatollah of yours and his buddies, the other Ayatollahs, you may have been preparing for us for a long time, but I got some news for you. Israel has been preparing for you for a long time. We have infiltrated your military, your political system, every aspect, okay? We've quietly gotten into different areas. You saw some of the damage we did early on. We haven't even begun, all right? So here's the implication. We've already seen, some are saying we're now down to the third tier of leadership in the IRGC. That's what's left. The others have been killed. Now we're talking about getting down to the 4th, 5th, and 6th levels. When you get to the 6th level, you might as well be talking about enlisted personnel, for crying out loud, okay? So if Israel is ready to pull the trigger, so to speak, and go after the government in all these different capacities, wow, this is what you need to think about. Wow, America has decided we're done. We're done playing, okay? We're going after the Iranian military and all its aspects. Hammer and tong, okay? So I'm sorry. Now the message is, we're going to kill you, all right? That's the message to the Iranians. We've taken out some of your infrastructure, we've ruined military capabilities, but now, dear IRGC, we are going to kill you. That's the message. Am I missing something here? Or does that seem to be the message?
The implied message, yes.
Yeah, I would say if it's true that President Trump told Hegseth to tell the boys in the Pentagon, cut it loose, let hell rain down on them, I'm thinking that's a pretty explicit message. All right, that's enough of my op-ed. Okay, so Iran needs to come up with and they're becoming desperate. All right, the other point I want to make here, which is related, I want to go back to a point that President Trump made in June of last year. I want you to remember there was the bombing of their nuclear facilities, and then there was about a 2-week period after that where there was much more activity, shall we say, and it was getting out of hand. Missiles were going back and forth between Iran and Israel like nobody's business, and if the truth be told, the scale of the firing from Iran to Israel was beginning to be more than Israel could handle. Okay, somewhere in there, I wish I could remember the exact date. I'm going to say June 25th, just because it sounds good. That was where President Trump looked at the reporter and basically said, and this is a close quote, "They are so effing crazy and they hate each other so effing much, they don't even know what they're doing." And he said it pretty forcefully, as I remember it. Please note, dear audience, that it was after he said that things very quickly quieted down, okay? And that kind of ended that phase of the conflict to a certain extent. Okay, so where does this leave us now? It leaves us at a new threshold, a new cusp, and you know, there's a general, all right, so I'm saying all this, and I just want to make the other statement here, that Jim Rickards, whom I respect but have issues with, did make the point that that if America does engage in an invasion of Iran, we are confronted with the risk of yet another endless war. Big country, 92 million people, okay? Even if only 15% of the population still supports the mullahs, the amount of resistance, the problems that are going to ensue while we're trying to establish a new government in that country, it will not go well. That's the problem, and I think we all understand that. But we were being forced into this position because the alternative is unacceptable. So long as Iran can keep the Strait of Hormuz closed, causing problems for all these other countries, it's going to be up to the other countries to also weigh in on this. So that's about it for that for now. So let me move on. Ukraine, all right, 400 drones. It's like watching two fighters exchange punches with each other. So the Russians punched the Ukrainians by sending a bunch of drones to Kyiv, and then the Ukrainians punched Moscow by sending 400 drones into their city, and that's kind of where we are at the moment. So it's, all right, I'm not quite sure how to, right, I've said this before and I'll say it again. In spite of the news you keep seeing where you see that Ukraine is making its own progress against Russia, Russia's still a big country, still a bigger economy, still has more people, and they are still pretty resilient in their own regard. The question is, where does all that resilience hit a wall? We don't know. I don't know. But right now, that conflict is just going to continue for the foreseeable future. Okay, just want to mention it. Yes, Spain did win the World Cup. They did beat Argentina. And somebody complained and said, well, you know, Argentina did cheat a lot. And that's a whole other story. But Spain won the World Cup. There you go. Now, I want to mention, her name I believe is Elizabeth, oh darn it, Kurbensall. She's the toughest school mistress in the UK. And we have a link up here where she does this fabulous talk. I think it goes on for about 15 minutes. And it is the most devastating, brilliantly argued critique or description against woke education, because it's just as bad in England, if not worse, than in America. See if I can get her name here. Catherine Birbal Singh, okay? And it's really well done. So I have the link there. Go to Yankee Tea .news. You will find the links for the week, and go find her and listen to this. And I think the single most important point that she made in that whole talk was when she described stupid as that. They don't care. So so these are examples of how very slowly, gently, gradually, the idea of something like socialism being inculcated into your way of thinking takes place, and the next thing you know, you have some number of people who think the discussion about it is okay. But what happened? Something wrong? Not working? Do I have to start all over again?
No.
Okay. All right, so we see how does this, let me know how am I doing here, Eric, with this thing?
Yeah,
You can see it?
yep.
Okay. All right. So if you can't see it, I'll read it to you. Capitalism lifts you out of poverty. Socialism puts you in poverty. And there is no better example, ladies and gentlemen, than that's right. You can believe what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. Communist China. What did Communist China do? Didn't a lot of people from Wall Street decided they want to invest in Communist China? So a lot of our manufacturing went to China. China was suddenly making products that used to be made in America. Okay? I believe that might be considered a part of capitalism. But more importantly, if you look closely at the business model for Communist China, what you have is the top layer is political, and then the layer below it is economic, and it is capitalist in its structure, okay? The point has been made. At least 80 million people in Communist China have been lifted out of poverty by bringing capitalist practices into an otherwise communist country. So you have Prime Minister Xi constantly trying to yammer on about Marxism, but the reality is they're practicing capitalism. And as some will tell you, technically speaking, they stopped being a communist party a long time ago and have simply become a techno-thugocracy. I think that's pretty good. Okay, moving on. Now, this is interesting. There's a new blood test that may predict Alzheimer's. So it's a particular protein, a tau beta protein, something of that kind. It's still early, but the level of this protein correlates to the proclivity for developing Alzheimer's. The more of this protein, the greater the risk. And the link is there, you want to see it. And then food additives of the week. So now there's a study from the University of Cambridge looking at, I didn't know there were that many, 39 different sugars. I mean, I know about xylitol, sorbitol,